Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 119th episode of the Retrotopia podcast. That's right, my name's Alan, and today, in honour of the Royal Rumble, which is taking place this very weekend, we decided we'd talk a little bit of wrestling with WCW NWO Revenge for the N64. And I know what you're thinking, Alan, the Royal Rumble is a WWE pay-per-view, so why are we talking WCW NWO Revenge? And to that I say, hey, shut up. Honestly, that one's on me. I picked this game up not too long ago now, and thought it would make a neat episode, and decided what better way to capitalise on all the wrestling buzz than by doing it around the Royal Rumble. So, seemed like a good idea at the time, and I stand by it. Saying that, if you are just here for the NWO Revenge talk, then why not spin ahead about, 25 minutes, half an hour, and you should get into the wrestling chat there, but I recommend you stick around, because we like to have a lot of fun in these intros. We like to talk to the Patreons, play some games. It's genuinely a good time. To that effect, I do need to get our plugs out of the way first. Linktree/Retrotopia, that's linktr.ee/Retrotopia. You can find all things Retrotopia. You can find our socials, our merch page, you can find our Discord, you can find our Patreon, and to that effect, our Patreon is free. You can join for free at the basic tier and you get access to our quick play mini review series. You get access to comments and voting in polls, and listening to Brian and Joe there listen to their Retro Bites Neo, which is a brand new format for Retro Bites. Very exciting stuff. We do have a $2 hero tier as well, of course, which gets you all of the above, as well as access to our New Game Plus show, which is essentially kind of a modern game review show, kind of a bit of whatever we feel like at the time. Got an episode on Metroid Prime 4 coming up in the not too distant future, so I should probably get on recording that at some point. Yeah, plenty of other good stuff. You get to choose a quick play as well to throw at a host of your choice. So that's become somewhat weaponized of late, as we've reopened the selection to all of our hero tier Patreons who've chosen games before, or chosen games, however you say that in good old English. And yeah, you can basically reward or punish a host at your leisure. Right then, now that that's all out the way, it is time to hear from some of the Patreons. In the undisputed champion of cultural elegance, it is the 9-Bit Banter Box. Oh yeah. Alright then, first up on the box, we've got Big Brown Dog, who says, Alan, in the last episode of 9-Bit Banter Box hosted by Sam, I informed him that he and his two beagles had just stepped in some mutagenic ooze. The two canines were mutated into ninja heroes named Carter and Cash, and Sam was mutated into either a squirrel or a rabbit. Actually, let's go with squirrel because I find that funnier. You, on the other hand, get to play the villain in this story, if only because you're British and British people always make the best villains. It's true. After having been thwarted in your nefarious plans multiple times by Sam and his ninja companions, you decide it's time to fight fire with fire. You are going to create your own mutated creatures to fight against Carter and Cash and beat them at their own game. The question from the marketing department is, which two animals do you choose to mutate, and what names do you give these two new characters? Brilliant question right out of the gate there. Yes, I am British. I am the villain, of course. I am the gentleman of villainy. And I'm going to pick two rather gentlemanly animals, I think. So, I mean, I think I would have an owl as one of my animals. I like owls. They're very dangerous hunters there. And I'm going to... The owl is called Owl Kill You. Owl Kill You. Yeah, there you go. I've got the puns. And I'm going to have a fox as well, and call him Foxy Dennis. Just because. Thought it was funny. Thank you very much, a Big Brown Dog. Next up, we have Philip, a Mouth with Farts, who says, Hi Alan, hope everything is well with you. It is, thank you very much. Are you a base version game buyer only, or are you ever tempted to buy collector editions of games? If not, what would a game need to provide to tempt you to buy more expensive versions of the same game? Back in the day, I would have been Philip, and it wouldn't have taken much. A fancy statue, a patch. I remember I got one of the Mass Effect special editions that had the N7 patch that I sewed onto my battle jacket back in the day. Anything really, any little trinkets or doodads there, I would have lapped it up. I am much more of a base version game of a guy these days, only because, you know, the amount of space that my collection takes up, I can't really afford to have too much other faff around taking up shelf space, as cool as I think some of these things looks. But I've still got a few of the statues and trinkets and what have you lying around. What I will say is I am pretty into buying like Game of the Year editions, the stuff that come with all of like the DLC and the extra content and what have you. I mean, those I might hold out for rather than the base game, but generally not that fussy these days. But 10, 15 years ago, oh buddy, I would have taken all of the collector editions had I been able to afford them. Random Yoshi94 says, what are 5 games at Mr. Allen that you would like to see as books? Oh, that's a good question. And the problem with this one is, you know, I have to look for games that don't already have books. And I've picked a few, and if they do already have books, I am not aware of them. So top of the list, of course, is Echo the Dolphin. No, I'm joking. I think Alan Wake, actually, I think would make an excellent book series, only in so much as the games kind of lean into that Stephen King style of horror as well, and it's all about a writer, so it kind of, I think that one kind of writes itself as a kind of meta commentary on the story. I'd have an entire series on the Legacy of Kain, simply because the lore of that series is just so deep. I think it would make an absolutely outstanding sort of fantasy horror series. I would really enjoy that. Bit of a niche pull here, and I had to dig deep. Does anyone remember Condemned on the Xbox 360? I believe it was. Very early game on the Xbox 360. Kind of a really spooky detective horror game. Kind of a theme going on here in my reading horror games. But Condemned, yeah, mystery thriller, I think would be really interesting. Either Metal Gear or Death Stranding, one of those Kojima series. I'm leaning more towards Metal Gear, because again, I think that would make for some really interesting character studies, I suppose, because, you know, there are a lot of very interesting characters in that game, and again, lore heavy, and I would love to see that in print. And I don't know, kind of stumped on the last one. Maybe Uncharted. So I think there could be some sort of young adult Uncharted adventure stories, which I think would be kind of neat. But yeah, that's what I could come up with. Great question. What else we got? Okay, The Big Deal says, since this week is a wrestling episode, I'd love to hear your favourite wrestlers, both current and all-time. Also, are you a mainstream fan that follows the big American promotions, or do you fancy that British wrestling with the likes of Giant Haystacks and Big Daddy? The only Big Daddy around here is me, Big Deal. No, I am very much a mainstream wrestling fan, and to be honest with you, for somebody who's leading a wrestling episode, like, I am woefully uneducated on a large portion of wrestling. Like, I would watch it when I was a kid, and I watched it during the tail end of the Attitude and Ruthless Aggression eras, and then there's a huge gap, and I just got back into it with the Netflix era. Obviously, it was all very easy for me to watch, so I've jumped back in. I mean, back when I was young, I remember, you know, I had my Hulk Hogan figures. I had Jake the Snake was probably my favourite as a kid, because that whole gimmick just, it's a fucking snake. How cool is that? Growing up, I would have to say I'm a big Eddie Guerrero fan. I don't know, I just loved his slimy, underhanded tactics, and the The Hardy Boys, man, me and my brother were obsessed with the Hardy Boys. Like, we fancied ourselves as the Hardy Boys. Like, we would be jumping off of things and swanton bombing and, yeah, Hardy Boys for sure. And today, I don't know. I like LA Knight, which, you know, being an LA Knight fan in this day and age is kind of tough because the guy is he's just not getting there, is he? You know, but I think he's, you know, a decent enough wrestler and great on the mic. A little bit of that macho man to him, I think. A little bit old school there, so I appreciate that. I like, in the same vein as Eddie Guerrero, I really like Dominic Mysterio. You know, I don't care what anyone says. That is Eddie's son. I know, but definitely carrying the torch of the old Eddie Guerrero lie, cheat, and steal there. And I don't know, just recently, you know, I'm starting to see what all the fuss is about with Finn Balor, especially after that match he just had recently with CM Punk. So, yeah, just to name a few. What else have we got? Hey there, this is, Hooley's Handy Hack says, hey there, always abstinent Alan. There's an alliteration for you. I'm quite sure you have played the first Borderlands, so who is your preferred character? And if you played the DLCs, did you have a favourite? I just did a full first-time playthrough of the Game of the Year edition. I played as Lilith and the Zombie Island of Dr. Ned. I thought was a fantastic and fun DLC, but after finishing almost all missions in the base game and DLCs, I am burned out on the lands that border. Yes, I have played all of the Borderlands games and enjoyed them immensely. I'm a big Borderlands fan. I'm going to agree with you for DLC. I think that Zombie Island.net is the best. It's just so different from the rest of the game, and the enemies are all different, and it's nice and spooky, and I appreciate that. I never get to play as Lilith, though. That's my wife's character, and she will play a siren in literally every game that we play together. I was Roland. Was Roland in the first game? Yeah, Roland. So I'm very much a soldier class. I like having the turrets. I like having the shields and stuff like that. So, yes, Roland is my guy. I wonder if we'll ever do Borderlands on the show. I don't know. Watch this space. What else? Brother Retro says, okay, Ali Wally, let's talk some wrestling. If someone you knew had never seen a single match, what would be the first match you would show them? I feel like, even though it's a bit cliche, I'd go with Undertaker versus Mankind, Hell in a Cell from '98. It's an iconic match that shows what incredible athletes and performers these wrestlers can be, and it's one of my all-time favourite matches. What say you, good sir? Brother Retro, I'm going to admit my ignorance here. As I said earlier, you know, I watched what we got over here in the UK back in the day, and we never got any of the pay-per-views or anything like that. So I can't really point to any specific match. You know, it's lame, but I probably would agree with the Hell in a Cell you've mentioned there, because I've seen so many spots from that match. It's just kind of iconic. But I'm not really I don't really remember individual matches. Bit of a lame answer, I'm afraid. But if I tell you what, excuse me. If anyone was asking about a single match, I would point them your way, because you obviously know better than I do. Okay, God, we are going for it today. So what do we got? Now, the next few I've grouped together because I recorded an audiobook. It's called Half Made Up, and it's available on Audible, UK and US, and a couple of people wrote in with nice things to say about it. So I'm going to stroke my ego for a moment and get into that. So, Old Man Gamer says, I just want to say great job on Half Made Up. Is there any more books we can look forward to in the future, or a new show called Story Time with Uncle Alan? Maybe where you sit in a rocking chair by a fireplace with a pipe reading stories. That'd be cool. I might do that one day. But no, yes, there are actually more books in the same series, the Andrew Mackay thrillers. Yeah, so number 2 is coming out in book form next month, and then I'll be doing an audiobook of that shortly after, and then I guess another one next year. So yes, there will be more to come, don't worry. Blobby says, Alan, congrats on captivating the Topia with your velvet voice in Half Made Up. Viennese Whirls or Fox Crunch Cream? Viennese Whirls, 100%. I love that smooth, crumbly texture. It's just buttery in the mouth, and an outstanding biscuit. Both are good, but Viennese Waltz for the win. Who else? First time ever, we had a write-in from Retrotopia. The boys said, "Congrats, Alan, on your first endeavour into sharing your voice with us. Half Made Up is a great book, made better by your voice on Audible. I suggest all of our listeners check it, if only to hear that buttery voice that is Alan. Love, Brian and Sam." Oh, thanks, guys. Love you back. And is that all of it? I think that's all of it. Lovely stuff. Thanks, guys. Thanks for writing in, and thanks for all the half made up love. That really makes a guy feel awesome. But we are running late for time, so we're going to move on to our next section, which is, of course, our spectacular game show, Choose One, Lose One. Ladies and gentlemen, roll up and choose your power-up from the game of the week. You pick a power, we pick a consequence. It's Choose One, Lose One, the game where everyone's a loser. All right, first up on Choose One, Lose One, it is Philip, my mouth with farts, who says, "I want the ability to do a little backwards thing and steal another person's talent, just like that." Done, Philip. You can steal other wrestlers' talents, but you also get every injury that they've ever had in their entire career. And it's cumulative, so it never goes away, and every time you use this ability, you just get more and more injured. Random Yoshi94 says, "I want to have a slash that is forward." Now, I'm taking this to be in the British sense of the word slash, which is, of course, a slang for taking a piss. And I'm wondering why you're struggling to piss forward. That's a bit of an issue. But okay, yeah, you can have a slash that is forward, but unfortunately now you have absolutely no control of it, no warning whatsoever, and for some reason you accidentally piss through whatever you're wearing and, inevitably piss in somebody's face and then get beaten up. Why not? Hooley's Handy Hacks says the ability to the ability to take a chair to the face. Hooley, you can take all the chairs to the face that you like, and everyone gets wind of this, and now every single person greets you with a chair to the face. Because they're aware of your new fun ability. And, okay, maybe you can take it, maybe it won't hurt, but it's still going to rough your features up a bit, so be careful, you'll end up looking like me. The Big Deal says, "How about the ability to implement a 20 count to an American wrestling promotion? Yes, this was a carryover from reskinning a Japanese wrestling game / series, but it's odd that they never changed that. It always felt so confusing, and I would love to use that to confuse wrestling fans of today." You know what, Big Deal? Sidebar. I thought that while playing this game, it was odd that it was a 20 count, but I never thought to bring up or question why. So I'm glad that you've scratched that little itch for me. Yes, okay. We're now adding a 20 count to American wrestling. The problem is that it's just another thing for wrestling fans to complain about, and it is the last straw. Everyone abandons the sport, and wrestling dies. And now all of those gross, smelly wrestling fans like myself, we've got nowhere else to go. We're just going to go out into the outside world and start beating each other up, and chaos ensues. Brother Retro says, "I want a Hogan Flair flop, so I can be useless after finishing off my opponent. Take it as you will." Oh, I'll take it, Brother Retro. I'm assuming the Flair flop is just when he just takes that dive and just... Do you know what? You can have the Flair flop. The problem is now you are never able to retire for the rest of your life. You have to work for the rest of your life, and every time it looks like you're going to retire, you don't. So that's it for the rest of your life. And finally, Old Man Gamer says, "I want the ability to join Raven's flock." I'm going to take this literally at face value and say that yes, you have now joined a flock of actual ravens, which sounds cool. And admittedly, it's going to be hard work to try and turn this around. But these ravens are literally with you at all times, and there is a lot of them. And let me just tell you, all of those droppings around your house, avian tuberculosis is no joke, my friend. Enjoy your dose. Ah, There we are. That's always such a good time. Thanks everyone for writing in and playing along with us. We've got to move on though to our next section, which is of course more of Macho Me talking about the game of the week in the Gentleman's Interlude.
Oh yeah, the cream rises to the top, and right here I'm gonna tell you why WCW vs NWO Revenge on the Nintendo 64 is the cream. Dig it! Released in 1998, right in the middle of the wrestling boom period, this cartridge didn't just exist, it elbow dropped itself into history. Yeah, developed by the heavy hitters at AKI Corporation and published by THQ, this was not the wrong time or the wrong place. No, sir, it was destiny. Now let me tell you something, Mean Gene. When you snapped that great cartridge into the N64, you were standing eye to eye with the madness. WCW versus NWO, black and white taking over the world, and you were caught right in the middle. Oh yeah, this game took WCW versus NWO World Tour and said the cream always rises. More wrestlers, more moves, more attitude, and more control than ever before. AKI Corporation understood one thing crystal clear. Wrestling is a thinking man's sport. You didn't just push buttons, oh no, you felt the momentum. You waited for your moment, and then bam, you pulled the trigger like the Macho Man from the top rope. Grapples had weight, counters had timing, and every match told a story because the Tower of Power was too sweet to be sour. Dig it! And the roster, unjustifiably in a position I'd rather not be in. Not here. You got Sting, Goldberg, Diamond Dallas Page, Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, and oh yeah, the Macho Man himself, strutting and flying like no one else could. Each wrestler felt different, moved different, and talked different. Even without the voices, you could hear the madness. Then comes revenge mode, brother, when nothing means nothing, man. Branching paths, surprise rivals, championship gold dangling just out of reach, and every decision mattered. This wasn't a handout, this was survival of the strongest. Dig it! Released in North America in 1998 and flexing its muscles in Japan later that same year. WCW vs NWO Revenge became legend. Still played, still praised, and still talked about with intensity. Because the Macho Man told you once and I'll tell you again. The cream rises to the top here. And WCW vs NWO Revenge, oh yeah, it rose forever.
Alright, so before we get into the game of the week, we like to hear from you guys and see what you think about it. So, and I should have had this ready to go, and I didn't because I have no idea what I'm doing. There we are. First up, Philip, my mouth with fart, says, the best N64 game I have ever played. So many hours spent with my friends in different battle royale situations, plus I can make any wrestler I wanted to be the world champion. I hope you guys had as much fun playing this game for the podcast as I did when I was a teenager. Well, you'll have to wait and find out, won't you, Philip? Because we're going to talk about it soon, don't worry. Randy Berridge says, it's me, it's DDP. I'm not going to do a voice or anything. I just nearly killed myself attempting Macho Man. So in the mid-90s, my mum worked nights, so it was just my dad and I home together. We started watching WCW Monday Nitro, and I got obsessed with professional wrestling. In 97, my dad picked me up WCW NWO World Tour, which I quickly became addicted addicted to, but the real turning point was Christmas of '98, when I got a Sting wrestling buddy and a copy of the recently released WCW NWO Revenge. The intro to this game with the truck driving into the night only to come across Sting as the lightning strikes was peak childhood. So many hours spent creating my own wrestlers who were missing from the roster, tracking titles and factions in made-up tournaments, and endless matches with my old man. While No Mercy will always be my favourite wrestling game, WCW NWO Revenge is my first love and always takes me back to fond memories with my dad and my buddy Sting. Randy, that is about as wholesome as it comes, and I love that story. And I know you're a big wrestling fan as well, because we talk about it together all the time. So, hope you're going to enjoy the Royal Rumble in just a couple of days' time, buddy. Random Yoshi94 says, I'm sorry, squared circle. That's in reference to the blurb for this comment section. Yeah, the squared circle. Yoshi, I mean, come on. It's a wrestling term. Look it up. The squared circle where all the action happens. Hooley's Handy Hack says, I was never a big fan of wrestling as a kid, but that did not stop me from loving this game and playing countless hours with my friends. 10 out of 10 N64 game. See, another nice wholesome story. I'm loving this. This is proper nostalgic this week. The Big Deal says, it's about damn time. I can't believe it took this long to get a wrestling episode, but you picked a banger of a game to do as your first. I have such fond memories of playing this along with the other N64 WCW and WWF games at my cousin's house. We would abuse the hell out of the Edit a Wrestler feature by making everyone different factions of the NWO, and at one point even edited outfits and renamed the entire WCW roster to WWF wrestlers. These games were something special, and the level of charm and overall fun has not been matched ever since. Yeah, I mean, the N64 was synonymous with these wrestling games, really. I think they're a genre into and of themselves. So, yeah, I agree. Old Man Gamer says, oh man, the hours and hours spent at sleepovers playing this game and watching WCW. Great times. There we are, nostalgia again. Wrestling is just nostalgia, man. I don't care. And Brother Retro says, I don't have enough words to describe how important this game was to my childhood. I'll leave it with a chef's kiss and on to hearing your thoughts. Well, Brother Retro, I will keep you waiting no longer because it is time to lace up your boots and prepare to take a bump or two with us as we talk WCW vs NWO Revenge, released for the Nintendo 64 in 1998. Thanks for listening, thanks for writing in, guys, and enjoy the show. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the following podcast is scheduled for one fall. Introducing first, the Challenger. From the US of A and the master of the deadliest move in wrestling history, the cheese tax, it's Sam. And his opponent, the Retrotopia undisputed champion from the wilds of Canada land, a man who likes to both give and receive a good chokehold, it's Brian.
Wrong with that one.
How you doing, fellas? How's it going?
Well, let me just get your hands off my throat here so I can speak.
Oh no, leave them. Leave them.
I'm I'm pretty good. Yeah, it's been a long day for such a short day because it starts at 2 o'clock and ends at 5, and the time between that is all go go go. But I'm learning how to animate in 3D software, so
Outstanding.
yay me.
So you could make another wrestling game if you so chose. And if you didn't get from the intro of this episode, or in fact that shoddily and hastily put together introduction, we are talking a bit of wrestling today, just in time, if I've planned this correctly, and I think I have, just in time to release the weekend of the Royal Rumble. Of course.
Yeah, that was your master plan. I remember that during the planning session.
It was my master plan, but if I was any kind of like intellectual, I probably would have gone with a WWE or WWF game instead of WCW versus NWO Revenge. But close enough, ballpark and all that. Sam, how are you doing?
Not too bad. Not too bad. I had a good time with this game.
Yeah,
a couple sessions and I was good. I remembered it enough that, this isn't a particularly long game. It's more like the experiences you had when you played it when it came out that are important.
Well, let's start there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you actually played this one back in the day, huh?
I did. I remember, there was WCW versus NWO, and then there was Revenge, which is the one we played for the show here. And I remember playing both, and I remember also going to like a birthday party or sleepover with a bunch of friends and playing this, and then I would rent it myself, and then I'd play it and not have my friends to play with, and it was like, it's like it's fun, but it's like, no, that magic is really like sitting with your friends and playing like a 2-on-2 or whatever. Like this was perfect for the N64 with 4 controller ports. What a game.
I mean, that's kind of the norm for a lot of N64 games, though, right? I mean, It really was the party machine back in the day. Brian, did you play this one?
I did not. Honestly, I don't know if I've ever played a wrestling game in my life. I've always been more about watching wrestling than actually playing any of the video games, because I find these kind of games a little bit clunky, and the 3D space you have to move around in is a little bit hard. So I wasn't really into WCW, and I thought the NWO was just the worst, to be honest.
Well, that's it, guys. It's been fun. Brian hates it, and we're going home.
I think when I was a kid, I had an NWO white T-shirt, like with my Jinkos
nice.
and stuff. Like that was like the style at the time. even
absolutely.
though I wasn't too into it, like a little bit, but still, it was almost like at that time just pervasive.
Yeah, I mean, back in the day, back when this game released, like, wrestling was kind of everywhere. Even we got it over here now. I mean, I played a lot of wrestling games when I was young. I thought this was one of them. But playing it this time around, I don't think I'd actually played this game before, because around a friend's house, we went through so many different, I guess, like Here Comes the Pain, Shut Your Mouth, all of that stuff. And I know we played maybe a couple on the N64. I don't think this was one of them. But, wrestling was a big... I mean, it is still kind of a big deal. I still watch it now. I sort of fell back off the wagon when everything came over to Netflix there. So now every week I'm getting my fix. But back in the day, like, we loved a bit of WWF, of course, back in the day. And, we didn't get all of it being over here in the United Kingdom. And what we did get, I think, was a little bit behind the times. But it was just so much fun, just watching it. And then, obviously, beating each other up afterwards, which was always the thing that me and my brother did.
When I was a kid, I wasn't allowed to watch wrestling, so I missed the Hulk Hogan era. Like when all these WCW stars were in the WWF, my parents just wouldn't let me watch it because it was too violent. So I watched violent movies instead. But when I was finally old enough, or I got there, I jumped into the Attitude Era, and of course I jumped on the Stone Cold Steve Austin bandwagon because, let's just say, he was fun. He was the anti-hero, and that's when I really got into wrestling, and that's when I find they had the best storylines. Like, everybody had these long lead-ups to whatever pay-per-view was, all ultimately leading to, like, WrestleMania eventually. And it was always fun because every week it was something different between a couple of people. And then, the stories, lesser stories would end at lesser pay-per-views, but there was always stories with everybody.
Yeah.
And he also had the factions, or what do they call the stables there? You had like the D-Generation X. You had, I can't think of the rest. Those, the guy who was like anti-violence, the prim and proper. He had Edge and Christian on there for a while. He had the Brood. All those things. So I was really into wrestling back then. And then when it was around the time CM Punk left WWE the first time that I fell off again. And when I started watching, I started noticing a lot of their biggest stars only showed up for pay-per-views. And I hate that. I always loved when you had a pay-per-view and then the next Monday you had, like, they're fighting, like, I want my rematch for the title, and you see another friggin' fight.
Paging Roman Reigns. Where are you, Roman Reigns?
Yeah. But that's the thing. Like, Brock Lesnar comes out, cuts a promo on a Monday night, and he's like, I'll see you at the pay-per-view in a month and a half. And then you don't see him again. And it's like, where's the story? Where's the build-up to it all?
Yeah.
But sorry, that was my rant.
No, I agree. And I was the same, a bit of attitude here, a bit of predominantly ruthless aggression. I distinctly remember watching as a kid around my nan's house, of all places. There was the stuff that I watched when I was really young, just sitting on the old man's knee watching, Hulk Hogan and Rowdy Roddy Piper and Jake the Snake, and I'm just thinking of all the toys that I had back in the day as well, and the ring and all of that good shit. And but yeah, I agree. Like, watching it now, like, I'm enjoying it. I'm having a good time. I think there is something to be said for the suspension of disbelief that you had when you were younger watching this stuff. But yeah,
and sometimes you can see moves so telegraphed that it just takes you out of the moment.
I mean, don't get me wrong, some of the shit they're pulling off these days is absolutely phenomenal, but it seems somewhat more clinical. I mean, I'm not saying let's get it out of the way. Like, Vince McMahon is a piece of shit, but back when he was running the ship, a lot of stuff didn't work, but then a lot of stuff did. And when it was work, it was phenomenal.
See, I heard that during the Attitude Era, Vince loosened the noose a little bit around people's necks and let him kind of develop storylines with other wrestlers, which is why you had so many storylines, which is why you had these great rivalries. It's because these people were working on them on their own with minimal interference. And then Vince McMahon became a control freak, and then everything had to be funneled through him. And that's when it kind of started getting a little bit worse, is because people would have ideas and Vince would shoot them down.
Yeah, I think that's probably where I wasn't watching. So there is a significant gap where, yeah, undeniably, that's what happened. But
I think that's the PG era.
Yeah, I don't really remember much of that one. So I think I was dipping out at that point. But I came back hard with the video games. I dread to think how many hours of my life I've spent on WWE SmackDown versus Raw 2007. Like, I lost months of my life to that game. I like a good wrestling game, it's just brainless, mindless fun, and you can just really indulge in that power fantasy and just take your favorite wrestler and take them to the top. And boy, I know we're not talking WWE or WWF, but there are a lot of fucking wrestlers in this game, right?
Yeah.
There's a ton.
A lot of them come from the early days of WWF, which is, one of those things that kind of turned me off of WCW. But there's some good names. Some people switched over to WWE later on as well. But you got the legends like Hollywood Hulk Hogan, the Giant, who is, what's his name now?
It's the Big Show, wasn't it? Is it
Big Show, that's it, yeah. Yeah, you got Scott Hall, Scott Steiner, Kevin Nash, Lex Luthor, Randy the Macho Man Savage.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Sting, Raven, Roddy Piper was there, Diamond Dallas Page, whose career got fucked by WWE, Goldberg, who's not that great of a wrestler if you watch him.
No, I'm not.
Puts on a hell of a show.
I'm not a Goldberg fan.
But I could go on. Like, I have the list in front of me, and there's a bunch other names that I could just throw out there, and I'm going to stop now because...
But for
Jesus Christ, as I go down the list, half of WWE's roster came from WCW or vice versa.
Yeah, and it's just incredible that a game on the N64 had a roster this stacked. Like, flicking through it, I was just like, half of these I don't know, and half of them, because that's always been my problem, because it's like they change their names between companies.
Yeah, if the company owns a name rather than the wrestler.
That's right, because I unlocked, when I was playing earlier on today, I unlocked, was it Kurt Hennig? I was just like, okay, no fucking idea.
Yeah, that's like, Mr. Perfect.
Oh, Mr. Perfect. I know Mr. Perfect. And it's just like, it just throws me. It's just because I'm not like the most knowledgeable wrestling fan in the world. So this stuff, it's fun to sort of find out.
Now, I want to take a moment to give Sam a chance to say something because we pretty much just blackballed him from the episode.
No, don't worry. I you know what? I would say I don't watch wrestling currently, and you know, it was one of those things that was just kind of like on in elementary school. I would watch it, but I didn't really absorb, like, I wasn't into storylines or anything. Like, yeah, it's fun to watch in the way that I also like, you know, kaiju movies and stuff like that. Like, I just love watching, you know, things fight each other. That's always fun. That's like, you get a kick out of that. So from that aspect, yeah, I enjoy it, but I'm not like, I don't know a ton of names. I'm not into the storylines. I could not go toe to toe with anyone on any sort of wrestling knowledge, but I was definitely aware of it. Just kind of, you know, something that's kind of just there in the culture, and when it's popular, you kind of know of it or know some names by just kind of association, right? So that's kind of where I'm at. And then obviously played this game as a kid and was like, yeah, this is pretty fun. Yeah.
It is. I mean, the N64 had quite a few wrestling games, all of which that are pretty lauded. You know, I think, you know, the trilogy or quadrilogy of wrestling games. I think, was it 4 wrestling games?
Well, there's
5? I don't know. Anyway,
yeah, there's the 2 WCW NWO games, and then there's Warzone and WrestleMania.
Oh yeah, WrestleMania 2000, and then No Mercy as well.
Or No Mercy, that's the one I'm thinking of. WWF No Mercy, and that's crazy that I think THQ made all of them.
I think so.
Yeah,
and I think they went straight through to, I don't know, SmackDown versus Raw. I can't remember what year before, like 2K took over. So they kind of had a stranglehold on like the best wrestling games for years.
And now it's just all 2K.
By the way,
right?
they have 12.
Sorry, Brian?
Yeah.
Sorry.
So I was just going to say they have 12 titles on the N64 for wrestling.
That's fucking
Are you kidding me? Jesus.
I didn't know there's that
many.
Yeah, WWF Warzone, Attitude, WrestleMania 2000, No Mercy. Then WCW titles would be Nitro, World Tour, Revenge, Mayhem, Backstage Assault, and then a couple of non-affiliated ones, and then ECW Hardcore Revolution.
Interesting.
Well,
I'd heard
God
Backstage
damn.
Assault is fucking terrible.
Well, be careful what you say, because remember, people have still got their quick play, Sam. So we
Oh
have to be-
god,
we have to be- we have
like
to be
I want
careful with that
Backstage
shit.
Assault.
They're listening.
Yeah.
They are listening.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that blows me away.
I like how we've weaponized that.
Yeah. Yeah, that if you hate us, you can make us play something shitty.
Basically, we've
Well, I'm just talking about us three talking there. It's like, I hate this game. It's like, duh, people have their quick play still. And it's like,
Yeah.
Do you know what the
Fuck
quick
you guys.
the quick play has become money in the bank, hasn't it? It's just like at any point somebody can just come and cash in and just fuck us over with a shitty game, and then take the title. I love money in the bank.
I was gonna
It's
quick
fun.
say, nowadays, now that 2K has taken over, there's no other. I kind of miss that in sports games and in wrestling games, where like there is no real variety anymore. It's all just kind of the you know, EA's got Madden and NHL, and 2K's got NBA and wrestling, and I mean that's pretty much it. Like I think there's an MMA game, but it's like they've really consolidated all of that into just like one annual game that everyone plays. And back then, you know, like we mentioned, like there were, you know, N64 games that we had no idea existed, and you know, it's, you know, things weren't cross-platform like they are now. So like, yeah, there's, you know, 10 games on the 64. There's like probably, you know, that many, if not more, on the PlayStation that are all different too. And there might be there's some good ones, there's some bad ones, but there was so much variety.
I think that speaks to just how popular the sport was at the time, though, because it's just like the more, as you say, pervasive it is in society, the more they want to capitalize and just churn out game after game after game.
Yeah.
And it's just like wrestling is not as popular as it used to be. I don't care what anyone says, you know.
It must have been easier to make games back then too, because there's not a lot to the revenge game here. You have minimal background. The audience is all flat cardboard pictures. The character movements are very clunky, and you really only have to remap a ring with a new pay-per-view title to say that you're at a new pay-per-view. So it must have been really easy to pump these things out.
That's true.
So it's probably why you're not seeing as many nowadays. And I was just looking it up. AEW Fight Forever was the last THQ wrestling game, and from my understanding, that one was terrible.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I remember hearing about that one.
I have to imagine as well that the likeness rights these days are just astronomical. I mean, have you seen the price of just a ticket to go and watch like a SmackDown
or a Raw? Everything nowadays.
I know, but it's astronomical. So I have to imagine that, like, getting, I don't know, CM Punk's face, Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, just in a game, like, the license has got to be, it kind of prices everyone else out of the market.
Well, the other problem with that is, and this is again going off topic, I plan to do a lot of tangents in this episode here, is Ticketmaster, they're a reseller. They don't sell tickets. They buy tickets and then resell them.
That's true.
That's what you get is like the administration fees, the resell, a high demand for this because everybody's buying them now, and it's creates artificial demand, and they just jack the prices up.
That's true. But they were pretty jacked to begin with, and it is a shame. Because they were just in London last week. I was just like, God, that would have been really nice to go and see, but not in my fucking lifetime. But, you know, that's because, as you say, the arenas and everything now are a damn sight more complicated than they were in NWO Revenge. Because, I mean, at least on the surface of this game, it looks every bit an N64 game.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the arenas are... I think they do a lot with what they have, but I think
it's
go on.
There's nothing wrong with the graphics in this game because they don't need to have the gigantic audience. They don't need to spend the time making the audience look real. You're not paying attention to that.
No.
This entire game focuses on a ring. There's no real backstage stories happening or things like that. It's ring centric. So yeah, they did what they had to, and probably the size of the ring is what lets them shove so many wrestlers into the game.
Yeah, undeniably, you know, because each one of those, and, you know, yeah, they kind of have a little bit of the old, you know, James Bond GoldenEye face going on. Yeah. But they've done a lot of work to differentiate these characters, and you can customize them as well, which I was really surprised by. You know, there are some customization options in this game, which is, like, really neat. So they got it. They focused on what mattered and sort of trimmed away the fat of everything else. Right?
And that's what they had to do. Yeah. That's actually one thing I'm not going to knock this game for, is by not overdoing it. At least they don't have like these big sweeping cameras as, you know, the guy comes out. They don't even have the character music. I don't even think they got licensed music in this game. But no. I don't know anybody's entrance music from the WCW days, so I have no idea.
No, it's all just like really crappy sounding It's all the same. Like every time a wrestler walks in, it's the same song, and it's just like this kind of
See, that's where this game is getting a knock. If you have licensed characters, you got to get their music as well, at least some sort of rendition of it. It doesn't have to be like the actual track, but at least get the beat down or something. That way, the Wolf Pack is coming out, or
just at least for their what do you call it? Their team or their stable or whatever. Just like to have their
yeah.
I get
Well,
it's like
I do know the Goldberg song, right?
The Goldberg song.
The Goldbergs. Oh,
well, it's not the song, but that long doosh, doosh, and then somebody knocks on his dressing room door, and
that's right.
He comes out there, and it plays that like epic music, and he gets to the stage, and the fireworks hit him on the body. Then he breathes out some of the fireworks smoke. You know that's
and then he hits.
It's iconic whether you like him or not.
Then he hits a spear and a fucking suplex or pile driver or whatever, and then the match is over, and it's just like, okay, well, thanks for coming, Bill. Bill Goldberg.
Yeah, that was the worst part. Like, I do remember him in WCW when, I'd switch over in WWF commercials. And, yeah, that was the thing. Like, he went so long without losing, it was just boring.
Yeah. Which is funny, because, you look at things like The Undertaker's streak, and it's just like, well, that's iconic.
But it's a yearly thing. It's not, he lost in between WrestleManias, right?
Yeah, but, still... It's just all in how you book these characters, and I guess that's kind of to link it back. And I didn't. Oh, this is a good one, because you can kind of fantasy book, because the roster being so big in this game, like you can pick. For instance, I saw Eddie Guerrero on there, and I was just like, first of all, I fucking miss Eddie Guerrero, and second of all, I was just like, I'm going to take this guy to win the Cruiserweight Championship. And, you can just literally just pick any character. And okay, they don't have the branching storylines and things like that you'd get in some of the later games and what have you. And it's just like, it's all... And that's all good, well and good, having that stuff. But, this game is just... It's fun. The actual wrestling, which is what this game should be about, is just really enjoyable. And I didn't get it at first. I was very rusty with wrestling games. Because there's a surprising amount of nuance to the actual grappling system in this game, which I think was who's that? That AKI, who designed that grappling system, and it's really clever.
See, I'm gonna contradict you because I couldn't figure out a lot on my own, and a lot of times I just grapple and then body slam them, and then all of a sudden I was walking around. Then I figured out how to punch finally, and then I would punch them and then grapple them, then body slam them, and then it took me forever to actually get the controls down. And then finally, when I hooked my N64 controller up to the my computer to play the game, I still had a hard time figuring out what button did what, and it probably took me 4 or 5 matches just to figure out how to bounce off the ropes. And then I figured that out, so I thought, what if I grappled and did that, and then next thing you know, he's throwing... I was building up on it, but it was taking so long, and I find the game really slow. Slower than I want it to be.
I mean, I
don't know if that makes sense.
I can't exactly argue that. I mean, it is a little sluggish. I mean, I don't think I'm going to ding it for that, but, it is... Not as fast as some of the games I'm used to, and I'll also some of those early rounds. I had such a hard time with this game to begin with because it's not basic. There are things to learn, and I guess back in the day we'd have had the manual to help us out with all of this, and we would have read it.
I looked it up. I looked up a PDF before I threw the game on, just so I could remember what the buttons
I should have done that.
Yeah.
Well, Sam, why don't you take us through the tackle and grapple of this game and how it all works?
Yeah. So this is another example. I think I had mentioned. I think we play Kirby 64.
Yes.
Yeah, we did. And I was like, yeah, there's not that many games that use the D-pad, and it's like, well, there actually are if you think about it. This is one of them. So when you're moving around the ring, you're actually using the D-pad and not the control stick, which is a little different. That was kind of a bold choice, I thought, for moving around in a 3D space, but it works pretty well. So you're moving around through D-pad. The punch, I believe, is B, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So there's like a punch and a kick. I
can't remember.
They don't really do much, but you can kind of get your opponent against the ropes or into the turnbuckle if you punch enough. And I'm not great at this game, so like if there's a better way, like let us know. Join our Discord and let us know or something. And then you can use the grapples, and then it sounded like, and I wasn't great at this, I was just kind of button mashing, but like if you used the different like direction buttons, or I think even like the C buttons would do different grapples. There was like a weak grapple and a strong grapple. And you could do like throws where you could, get them on the ground, and then you could press the A button when you're standing over them to do a hold. So the holds were useful in all the time that you're doing these moves. Each player has it's like a spirit meter, so it's not like a life meter like a traditional fighting game. You have to chip away at their spirit meter to the point where if you were to do a pin, you could pin them pretty easily. Like if your spirit meter is down and you've knocked them down, they might stay down a little longer and allow you to do like a hold or get the drop on them. Like I was able to at some point climb up onto the turnbuckle, like do a flying like drop or whatever you would call it, like like jump on them. It was like the first time I figured that out, I was like, oh.
Yeah, there are moments like that where you just pull something out of absolutely nowhere, and you're just like, holy shit, I didn't know I could do that.
And it was like,
no, that's 90% of the times I did anything other than punch or grapple.
And so, yeah,
I did this
since I was button mashing. I was like, shit, how'd I do that?
Yeah, right. I did this excellent German suplex with Eddie Guerrero that instantly went straight into a pin, and I was just like, how the fuck did I manage that? That's awesome.
Yeah.
And Brian, we were talking about this a little bit off air. So, you've looked up how the spirit meter works. In my understanding, so it's kind of your momentum in the match. So the more big moves you're doing, the more taunts and things like that, the higher your spirit meter goes, and conversely, the lower that the opponent's goes. And correct me if I'm wrong, because I got the sense while playing this that your spirit meter being low made it very difficult for you to tap out of things. It made it very difficult for you to actually hit any grapples or throws or holds or anything like that. It swung reversals and what have you back in the direction of your opponent, so they had an easier time getting out of your moves. And not that I had any kind of luck at like reversing or getting out of holds or anything like that, because I could not figure out the reversal system in this game to save my life. But I'm pretty sure it was all tied into the spirit meter, right?
Well, yeah, it's like Sam said, it acted as kind of your stamina, and the more of a streak you went on pulling off moves and slamming your opponent there, your spirit meter would go up and, be color significant. So the, more close it gets to green, the better you're doing. And eventually, if you fill it up, you'll be able to get your special move, which I guess would be their finisher. But as it goes down as well, it goes, to yellow and stuff like that. And you're sluggish, you're slower. Think of it as inversely proportional to the other guys. So if the other guy's got a green meter and you've got a yellow one, well, they're going to be kicking your ass a little bit longer. Maybe you got to back off and, just punch them a little bit there. And then, if it's the other way around, you got the momentum, that's the time to strike, right? You get them down as low as you can, then pin them on the mat.
Yeah.
So that's my understanding from reading the book. And it's just exactly what Sam said, so.
Yeah, I'm
just repeating.
I got the impression that, well, it's not even the impression. I noticed that you could have a really high spirit meter, but if you weren't doing anything with it, it would eventually drop back down to a kind of even keel.
Yeah.
So you had to keep up the pace in order to keep that thing building, and which obviously means that if you can stay out of your opponent's reach for any length of time, then they will sort of lose steam, and that's the time to sort of strike back, I suppose. I know. I'm sure your spirit goes up if you can reverse and also kick out of pins.
Oh yeah, it's definitely based on what you're doing in the ring. Like I said, if you're grappling and slamming, you're going to get it up a little bit. Throw them against a rope, clothesline them, all that kind of good stuff. It just it builds up, and eventually you'll get to a point where you'll gain the special, which I mean, probably, I never did it personally, but it's probably the moment you can unleash the razor's edge or something like that and take out your opponent and finally be able to pin them.
Yeah. Yeah, I really like that system. It really made the matches feel dynamic. What do you reckon, Sam?
Yeah, I don't know. I think there's a lot to this game that I probably didn't experience because I'm not great at it. You know, obviously, I just kind of played surface level, but had a lot of fun with it. So there's kind of a, kind of something you can say to a game like this where, like, anyone can pick up and play it and have a decent time with it, even if you're just, like, fumbling around with the controls. But there is, like, some deeper control schemes, some deeper concepts that are, like, embedded into the game where, like, if you know what you're doing, like you said, Alan, you could do, like, some sort of crazy hold into a pin, or, like, I'm sure there's super cool, like, each wrestler has, like, super cool finishing moves and stuff, whereas I was just doing kind of like box standard, methodical, get their spirit down and then pin them type stuff, and that works too. But there's definitely more to this. So there's really good on the developers for making a game that's, like, accessible but still has some, like, deeper gameplay elements to it that you probably would only find if you're really, really good at it.
Yeah, which, again, admittedly, I was not. I mean,
No, nobody is.
No, I mean, I started off, and my cartridge, actually, I got it secondhand, and it had everything unlocked already.
Perfect.
So I actually had to reset the cartridge, which is something I figured out how. Well, I had to look it up, but apparently just holding start while you turn the console on just basically reset the cartridge, which was kind of neat.
Oh shit!
So I
Could
got
you
to
imagine
basically
if you
play
did that on
Formats the
accident?
entire thing.
No, sorry. Yeah, imagine you lose all of your belts and all of your progress.
Yeah.
Like, fuck that. But yeah, I struggled at first because I was just trying to play it. I think I was just trying to play it like a beat 'em up because I'd not played a wrestling game in so long. And, you can sort of get by, at least in the early stages, because let's say you're playing one of the championships, you go through, I can't even remember how many it was, let's say 10 wrestlers before you get to the championship match. And, it's kind of a smooth difficulty curve, but it does get harder and harder. It's almost like an arcade game in that sense, like an arcade beat 'em up. And you go through all of these different adversaries and opponents, and you have the inevitable interruptions at ringside and all of that good stuff. And, like, I was having such a hard time on normal because I just didn't get the nuances of this game's control system. And once I knocked it down to easy and I started to, like, get used to the fact that, oh, okay, well, if I do a weak grapple, I'll just do a quick flip, or if I do a strong grapple, I can do a big slam, and all these different buttons do something different. I just started playing around with it and seeing what was possible, and I like that discovery of just figuring out what each different wrestler does with all of these different combos. It was great.
Yeah, there's a lot you can do in this game. If you're one of those people who's very methodical in fighting games and you know how to input combos and shit like that, this is right up your alley. If you're somebody like me who pushes buttons because they're fun to push, then not so much.
What does this one do?
That's pretty much my game style.
Yeah.
How did I punch myself in the face?
Did you guys experience, like, did you play like a championship belt where it's just like match after match? I don't know the exact terminology, but yeah, it was like a you're like going for the belt, and then all of a sudden you're like in the middle of a match, and then a second wrestler will run out.
Oh, that happened to me once, and I fucking hated it. I never went back.
Okay, because, like, did you have to actually fight both of them? Because when it happened for me, I was able to, like, just pin the wrestler that I was wrestling, and the other one was just standing there. It happened like 3 times.
No, I had to fight them both, and I couldn't pick which one I was fighting. The character would just aim at whatever one they felt like, and then I'd be trying to turn because the other guy's beating the back of my head, and it just it got frustrating. So I reset the game and just said no more championships. I just want to get a feel for it, and I did.
Oh, that's true. I could not figure out how to shift, and there probably is a way to do it.
Yeah, there's a button for it. I can't remember what it is.
Oh, is there? Because I could not, and I was just like, well, I guess I'm fighting this guy now, or he just punched me in the back of the head, so I guess I'm fighting him now. And only once did I say it worked out in my favor. I was I can't remember what championship belt I was taking Eddie to, but it was Scott Hall in the final, and Macho Man came out, and he was on my side, and I was just like, fuck yeah. And this was on normal difficulty. I'd managed to get all the way to the final on that, and Macho Man came out to help me, and fucking bullshit fucking Razor Ramon there still managed to beat me. I was just like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, I suck. I
guess the cream really doesn't rise to the top.
No.
Unjustifiably in a position I'd rather not be in. But the cream will rise to the top, yeah.
That is goddamn impressive.
But it's just another little. They didn't have to put interference and stuff in, but that shit happens in wrestling, and it's just like. Yep. I would always be like, "Oh, I'm just getting ahead of steam here," and then all of a sudden, like, well, just on my last playthrough, Chris Benoit came in. I was just like, this fucking guy."
I could when they would run in, like, obviously this game didn't have the announcers or anything. Like, it's pretty basic, but like. I could, in my head, when the second wrestler would come out, I could hear that like announcer guy going like, "What?" How they overreact, not overreact, but they like play up the
they
the drama
100% overreact.
Oh yeah. There's no announcer that's better than JR.
That's probably who I'm thinking of.
JR.
Yeah, I don't know names.
Yeah,
it was JR and Jerry the King Lawler, wasn't it?
Yeah, Jerry the King Lawler, who had a heart attack in Montreal in the middle of broadcasting.
Ooh.
That's true. Was that Montreal? Oh shit, yeah.
That was Montreal because I actually lived there at the time.
Oh wow. Jeez. Yeah, that was a fucking commentary team right there. Legendary. Oh god.
Well, he was with Michael Cole at the time, and Michael Cole was playing the bad guy, and then Michael Cole did I don't know what face or whatever they call it. He just stopped being a dick after that.
I can't, like, watching it now, Michael Cole, like, I can't imagine him being a heel or like, what do they call it, like the color commentary. Like, he's such the straight man, and that's just wild. But yeah, and for better or worse, that's another thing that's missing from this game. And you know what? I don't hate that, because like, how do you feel about commentary in games like this? Usually,
it gets repetitive. Yeah. Like I've played NHL games quite often, and the commentary is like it's like playing Blades of Steel. He makes a pass. He makes a pass. He shoots.
There's only so many times you can hear like, "What a pass! Tape to tape."
Yeah.
I just remember all the commentary from like the Madden games and stuff.
Yeah. It's just like, I don't miss it. Like it. Yeah, I'm glad it's not there. In fact, I did not play with every wrestler, but the only like actual voice
you could have.
I'm starting to dedicate your commitment to this podcast. I played every wrestler at least 2 times just to get the most out of so I could really talk about it like I knew what I was talking about.
Once to learn their move, once to win the belt.
Did you actually, Sam?
No. Oh my god! I only played like 2 belts. I played one regular one with I don't even remember who, because I don't care. And then I did a heavyweight with Macho Man because I wanted to do the taunt where he goes, "Oh yeah."
But that's it. Like, does any other wrestler in this game like have a soundbite? I don't think
so. I think
if they did, I wasn't paying attention. And again, I didn't play as everyone. But the fact that they've just got Macho Man, just oh yeah, it's just like fucking brilliant.
I can't remember which game.
That's my guy.
Might have been a WWF one, but there was one game I remember from my childhood, and the taunt was like the "suck it" like that was in the game.
Oh,
so
yeah,
I would do
nice.
that all
Oh,
the
that's
time.
WWE.
Okay, yeah, that's probably that was probably No Mercy or whatever. Man, I should pick
Old
that
Triple H and Shawn Michaels with the
up.
Degeneration
Yeah, I should
X.
probably pick that up too at some point. Just that'd be fun.
That's who's missing from this game. The 1-2-3 Kid. I know it's like completely off topic, but that's X-Pac on WWE.
Oh.
He started in WCW as 1-2-3 Kid.
Yeah, see, my knowledge of
At least I'm pretty
WCW
sure he
is
did.
pretty awful. I'll admit. But you know what it was? I picked up this game secondhand. I was just like, you know what? I want to play this, so I'm going to suggest an episode. And there we go.
Yep.
And as it turns out, it was the one I'd never played before. So swing and a miss there, Alan. Good job. That being said, like, I really enjoyed this. You know, I mean, it's not the, well, it does have depths to it. It's not the deepest game in the world, but, you know, it just has that one more match kind of feel to it that I don't know.
Not for me.
Not for you. No, you tapped out. Tapped out quite literally.
Yeah, what can you say? It's not my cup of tea, but I'm going to give it a fair review.
Oh, absolutely. Although probably not a long review because, I mean, what else is there to talk about? There are other modes, like there was like handicap matches and what was the other one? And I was not gonna play a handicap match in this because I couldn't even beat somebody 1-on-1, at least to begin with. So that was not a mode that I dabbled with. And obviously you got exhibition where you can just pick and choose and just beat somebody up or be beaten up in return. And I do like the fact that at least your sort of quote-unquote story mode with the belts is, you know, you are rewarded for every belt that you beat. You get an unlockable character, which on an already stacked roster is always appreciated.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just there's a lot to know. I don't know. Like, it's just a good, solid wrestling game.
It really
is.
is.
I am
Like,
fast
it's
running out of
simplicity.
things to say about it.
I am too. One more quick thing is I really liked that they had different, and it wasn't like they had to do much. They were just basically like arena palette swaps, if that's even a thing. But you'd have like what was it, like Bash at the Beach and the Halloween one and Royal Rumble. No, it wouldn't be Royal Rumble. What? Fuck, I don't know. They had a different arenas.
We get what you're saying. Starcade.
Yeah,
and all
Starcade.
that.
Yeah, that one was cool. I just liked that, like all the different arenas from like the different events. Those were pretty cool.
Yeah, and like you said, it's not a difficult thing to do.
No.
Like, it is almost a palette swap. But again, there's a good amount of variation in that. Like, and we've already said that they didn't go overboard with the arenas, with the crowds and things like that. But they do enough just to keep it interesting.
Oh, another thing that you could do if you got out of the ring, I think you could turn it off. But you know, obviously, you could time out of the ring. You had 20 seconds out of the ring, or you would time out.
Which I nearly fucked myself over so many times with that. Just getting cute outside.
Oh.
It's just like if I can put this guy down for 20 seconds and just chill out, then I'm going to win the match that way. And he would inevitably reverse something, and I would just get back in the ring with like half a second to spare.
No, there were a couple that I like matches that I won where it was like, you know, it's like getting up to like 16, 17. I was like, I did like a quick throw, and then they were like on the ground for a bit, and then I just like scampered back into the ring and won while they're just like laying on the ground outside.
Did you actually get a ring out for him?
Yeah, I did. I got a couple of them.
Nice.
And then that's what that's called. The other thing that you could do and when you're out of the ring is you could press the up C button when you're by the what do you call those, like the
apron.
No, not the apron, like right in front of the crowd, whatever the gate is called or whatever,
The
guardrail. Yeah, that thing. You could reach over, and sometimes you could call for like a like a piece of pipe or like a stop sign was one of my favorites. Just like stuff that you could wield to like smack your opponent. Sometimes they wouldn't give it to you. And I don't know if it was random or what.
That's ridiculous.
I knew of them. I never got to use them.
Yep.
Like, there were some matches I started and the opponent had like a weapon in hand.
Yes.
And I'm just like, well, what the fuck? Like,
Yeah.
how is that fair? Like, surely disqualification, ref. Come on. But I never. I'm gonna have to play, and I will play this again. And yeah, I'm gonna have to go looking for some weapons.
Hell yeah.
I was not aware of that.
It's fun, especially when you get the stop sign. That was my favorite one because it's so fucking big, and then you just like you bash them in the face a couple times with the stop sign, like the edge of the stop sign. They fall down, and then you could just like two-handed just like wail on them while they're on the ground.
Ooh. And you can bloody people up in this game. Like it does happen, which again is just really, I mean, and you know, this is a Nintendo system back when they weren't afraid to have a little bit of blood on their consoles.
Yeah.
So
kind of funny that like sometimes it would take, you know, a minute or so into the match before they would get bloodied up, or like you'd pull an item out of the crowd and bloody them up with that. But like there were times when within like the first couple minutes they were already bleeding. It was like, oh geez. So I don't know what the trigger is for, you know, the blood effect. I guess it's just kind of seemed random.
Yeah, it did. It's just the right shot in the right nose.
Yeah,
and that was enough to do it. But yeah, it's just lots of little things that just make this game just, I don't know, kind of special. Even for somebody who's not played it for like, ever. You know, I got a kick out of this. Brian, got anything else to bring to the table? We've already talked about music and stuff like that. You know, there's nothing really to write home about that.
I think I'm ready to wrap her up.
Well, why don't you pin it to the mat and get the 3 count, and we can get out of here.
Yeah, and say who your favorite wrestler was in the game when you give your
nobody.
Score.
Next question.
Nobody.
Okay, so talking about this game, I'm not a big wrestling game fan, so I went into it with an open mind, but I found the character animations were very clunky. Half the time, the hit detection was not there. 90% of this game was grappling and throwing, and when stuff happened, you couldn't time things. It was very luck-based that you were actually able to do anything. I didn't have as much fun as you guys sound like you did, because I was getting frustrated trying to figure out the controls. That's more of a me thing than the game thing, like, you know, get good or go home. This game is a basic wrestling game. That's all I'm going to say about, like, all of that stuff. Is there's no flair to it, and that's what wrestling is all about, is the flair. It really does require the stories. It really does require the music. It really requires the reason the wrestler's out there. And this is just like a game where you pick your dream match and that's what you do. Or you pick random, which is going for a championship belt. I mean, future games did it better, and I think that's why this game probably would not ever be something I'd be recommending to anybody, because of that fact that there is no story in it. The fact that there is no, like, why is that wrestler coming out? What is the feud that's going on? Why is his music not hitting? Like, God, when certain wrestlers' music, when they hit, you get excited. Like when you hear Stone Cold's Glass Break, or The Rock's If You Smell What The Rock Is Cooking, and all that kind of stuff. That's when you get excited. But this game doesn't have that. So when that wrestler comes out to help you or your opponent, you don't get that excitement they've shown up. Plus, I'm pretty sure it's probably a random wrestler. Having said that, the roster of wrestlers in this game is goddamn impressive. Like, I've been looking at it over the course of our entire podcasting here, and there's some of my... Like I said, I wasn't a big WCW guy, but I did have a lot of these wrestlers I did really like. Like, I like Scott Hall. I liked him when he was Razor Ramon. Hollywood Hulk Hogan, he's just an asshat. Glad he's dead, because he was just a horrible person at the end. Kevin Nash I found to be absolutely boring. Sting, I don't get the hype over him, but they're all here, though. I like Chris Benoit before he did that thing though. So I'll stop with that one. But yeah, a lot of them came over to WWE when they bought the WCW. So the roster is probably the best part of this game. The moves, I'm not going to say anything about the moves because it's more of, a me problem than it is a game problem. I am going to say one thing about the overall quality of the game is it's very, very bland. And if you just want a game where you get in the ring and you wrestle, this might be the game for you. But if you want the wrestling experience, this is not the game. It doesn't give you anything outside of the ring. So I'm gonna sum up because I really don't know what else to say about it. I'm gonna give this game a 5 out of 10. I'm neither loving it nor hating it, so it's just right down the middle for me.
All right. Lukewarm on WCW NWO Revenge. Sam.
Yes.
What about you, buddy?
Yeah, I guess it's interesting because like this type of game is one that I think people have a lot of nostalgia for. Obviously we talked about how many wrestling games were on the 64 and the holy trinity or quadrilogy or whatever you would call it of wrestling games, this being one of them. I have fond memories of it, and the amount of time I played at sleepovers with friends was pretty limited compared to what I'm sure a lot of people did. Like I played it a few times and had a great time with it. Obviously that doesn't necessarily translate to like a single player experience, because I think this is really built for the multiplayer and built to have like Brian said, an impressive roster, pretty basic pick up and play controls. I don't know, we kind of at least you and Brian did a little bit. It doesn't have a lot of the extra music or storylines, but I don't know if that's really what was intended here. I think this is more of a tie-in just to kind of get that experience and to kind of bank off of like the multiplayer couch co-op abilities of the N64 with the 4 controller ports. Like you could really have a good time with this with a group of friends, and I think that's what this was really made for. So I think taking a kind of an opposing viewpoint here, I think that the stripped down kind of bare bones presentation and gameplay really benefits the game because it's not too over the top. It's just a plug and play experience, and you can swap costumes. There's tons of wrestlers. Sound isn't great. It doesn't always look great, but it looks good enough, I think. It's like there's a lot here. It's almost like, and I don't want to say it's not quality because it is a fun game, but it's almost like they wanted to give you a lot of quantity of something that was pretty darn good, instead of like only a little bit of something that was super, super good, if that makes sense. So I think they sacrificed maybe a little bit in the graphical presentation or game mode and sound department, to have the variety of wrestlers that they have and the different moves and, focus on the gameplay itself. I didn't find it too clunky. I thought it was controlled pretty smooth, but then I played it at the time it came out, or around the time it came out. So I knew kind of what to expect here. I think it's interesting that I can't remember what it's called, but I think they released an N64 style or like 90s style wrestling game currently, but don't quote me on that. But I thought I remembered hearing about that, and it made sense. Like it didn't faze me that a game developer would make something that had this feel to it. And have it be, at least there be interest in it. You know what I mean? I don't know. I feel like I'm just kind of rambling, but like I really do think that the simplicity does this game credit. This isn't intended to be something that was a very elaborate experience. You're just meant to be able to just get in there and bash and have a good time with it. So I'm gonna give this an 8.5. This is a fun game. It's just fun. There's more to it if you want to get into the weeds and really learn all the combos and stuff. But for something that you can just plug in and play, it's a great game. on
Nice.
anything else. Favorite
Nice.
wrestler? I think, gosh, I really liked the masked wrestlers a lot more than just like, I thought like the kinds that just were like regular buff dudes were boring. So I always liked like a Ultimo Dragon or like a Rey Mysterio.
You're a luchador, man.
Yeah, Sting is pretty cool too. Like I liked the face paint or the masks and that kind of stuff. That was always more fun to me than just like some dude.
That's fair enough.
Yeah.
I was never staring at their faces.
You're staring at their crotches.
Just staring
Fuck
at
yeah,
those big
tight
old,
shorts.
big old muscly men,
Yep.
and they are big in this game. Like everything
yeah.
is just ballooned in proportion, which I think works because you can't if you can't get the facial animations and everything like that. Just make big muscly men.
Just make them look like they're those. You remember those like rubber wrestling toys that were like
yeah,
dangerous? They're like hard rubber. It's like if you made an action figure out of a hockey puck.
oh my god, imagine.
Just make a video game with those.
That'll do. You both make extremely valid points. Like I do like my wrestling games with a bit more of a story, admittedly. Like I say, some of my favorites I've played have a bit of the backstage, have a bit of the rivalries and stuff like that. But that's all stuff that would come along later on. I mean, we have to remember that this is a product of its time, and I think for its time, it is a game that they managed to cram an incredible amount into an N64 cartridge. And yeah, some things take a hit for that amount of variation. The arenas are kind of samey. The music is just very generic, but none of that really matters as long as you make the gameplay fun. And you have a roster that you can, you might not know everyone on there, but you're going to be able to pick out a few favorites and get a pop whenever you see someone, because there are just screens and screens worth of these wrestlers, and almost every single page I was like, oh, I remember him, oh, I know him, yeah. And it's just like it gives you all of that, basically a big toy chest to play with. I can't speak, obviously, to the multiplayer, although I can imagine that it was a big part of this game's appeal back in the day, because that's just kind of what the N64 was. It was that party system, and a game like this with 3 friends of yours around would have been pretty damn special. But speaking to the single play, I enjoyed the hunt for the belts, and I think what this game tries to do is, again, take a more arcadey style of approach to it. It's not unlike a fighting game, like a Street Fighter or a Mortal Kombat, in so much as, you've got that ladder you need to climb and just beat enemy after enemy after enemy until you get to the final one. And for that, you don't really need any of the fluff, any of the storylines or rivalries or stuff like that. I mean, Sam says it was just fun, and I agree. I think the control scheme was, although maybe a bit tricky to get hold of at first, once I started to wrap my head around it, I found it incredibly nuanced, and just, you could do an awful lot with very little. And the amount of different moves and combos that they threw in there, really let you just spice up some of these matches and try things. Maybe you want to beat this one with a submission. Maybe you want to try for a ring out. Maybe you want to just straight up pin. You have all of that in there. Visually, as I said, nothing special. Yeah, we've already talked about the wrestlers and their likenesses themselves. I think they're as good as they could be on the system. Everyone is recognizable. Yeah, I enjoyed myself. I'm biased. I like wrestling games, and this one, like you say, Sam, it's just you pick up, you play, and then you put down for a bit, and you don't have to think about it. It's just a laugh. I think I'm going to land on an 8 out of 10. Definitely will play it again. Want to go for a few more of those belts. I want to see if I can't find that weapon you were talking about. Have some fun with
it's
that.
fun.
But
That's my favorite.
exactly, and that's just it. Like, it's all sorts of things just in there that you think, well, this game is probably a bit too basic for that sort of thing. It's just like, no, we've got this too. We may not have everything, but we've got enough to play with. Could it do with a few more modes? You know, maybe, but all of that would come in later games. So it's very formative for the genre of gaming. Do you know what I mean? Like, we wouldn't be where we are now without games like this. So good for you, NWO Revenge. And that's it. That's all I have to say about that. That's all I have to say about that.
It's a fun ass game.
It is a fun ass game, and wrestling is a fun ass thing. And you know what? Let's have a bit of fun. This comes out on a Friday now, because Retrotopia comes out on a Friday now. And if I missed, and when's the so the Rumble is on the. Oh, I think it's on the very next day. I think it's the 31st of January. Guys, just throw a name out there. Who's winning the men's? Who's winning the women's? I don't care if you know wrestlers or anything. Just swing for the fences.
Jesus Christ.
Even better. Who's the surprise entrance from the Blast from the Past?
Oh.
Ooh, that's a very good question. At the Royal Rumble, who could it be? Who's available?
I don't even know who. I don't even know names anymore. Like any name that I knew was old already or sadly dead. To be honest,
just say one of those. That'll do.
Oh yeah, just like bring someone back from the dead. Roddy Piper's coming back.
Oh, there you go. And he's going to win the Rumble. I love it. There you are. There's your surprise Blast from the Past.
Old bagpipes. Brung, brung.
Andre the Giant.
Andre the Giant. That I'd get a pop out of that. Can you imagine? Good old Andre. Princess Bride. Brilliant film.
That's what I know him from, really. But like, he's got a wild history.
Oh my God, that man could drink. Jesus, I mean, wild times. I'm definitely going to be watching it. It's on Netflix, so I'm definitely going to be watching the Royal Rumble. I'm very excited for the road to WrestleMania.
How about your predictions, Al? You give us your predictions because you actually know who's going to be in it.
Oh,
you know what? Stone Cold's making a surprise entrance, number 21.
Yeah, it'll be something like that, like the Rock or something like that. Yeah, but go ahead.
I'm wondering here. Okay, women's Royal Rumble. Does Bianca Belair come back, win the Rumble,
I have no idea.
And then challenge?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, why can't I think of her name now?
Styles. No, not AJ Styles. AJ Lee is coming back for the Royal Rumble.
Oh, she's already back. So
yeah, but I know, but she's going to be in the Royal Rumble, and she's going to be pushed for a women's championship run to be co-champion with her husband CM Punk.
Not a bad take. Not a bad take.
That sounds.
And for the men's, I'm like, does Bron Breakker? Because he already had his shot at the title, and I don't really want it to be Cody Rhodes. So
I was going to be Cody Rhodes. He's still hot.
Do you know what? I don't even think it's going to happen, but I am so hyped on Finn Balor at the moment from that intro last night. I'm going to say let Finn win the Royal Rumble. Let Finn Balor have it, because that would be epic. And keep his old music, please, because that was awesome. Right, that's all I've got. How about you guys? This has been one hell of a rambling episode.
Yeah, I got nothing else, so...
All right.
Enjoy the Rumble, those who watch, and hopefully you have access to it, because I know they like to, you know, I always have that problem with professional sports too, where it's like most of the games are pretty available or on streaming, and then, you know, there's like one big huge game that's like on cable that you can't watch or whatever. Like it's not on streaming, it's on regular TV, and you don't have, you know, cable to watch it or something. So I know they do that. You know, it's like, oh, everything's, you know, streaming, and then this is a pay-per-view. That kind of sucks. So I hope everyone's able to watch and enjoy their wrestling.
See, it's the good thing about being in the UK. Now it's all on Netflix. So That's how I've fallen back into it. So, all right, I have no idea how to end this episode, so I'm just gonna
give us a Macho Man.
Yeah.
How would whoa, freak out? I don't know. How do I end this episode?
Snap to a Slim Jim.
We're not stopping the recording till you figure it out.
Well, it's been fun, guys. Oh yeah.
The ending was terrific.
Hi there, everyone. We here at Retrotopia couldn't do what we do without the support of our Patreons. And to that effect, we would like to shout out our heroes at the hero tier. So a huge Retrotopia thank you from all of the hosts here to Andrew Wright, Wildcard, Unbuckled Cape, Makeshift Money, Sergeant Ombre, Randy Berridge, BCOS19, J Nasty 15, Chris Kaplane, Jack Datchler, Sir Busts-A-Lot, Big Kid 782, Super Dave, Big Brown Dog, Studstill Smash, Fallen Snow Kiku, Radmac, Calin Hygus, Old Man Gamer, Raging Demon, Radioactive Hooli, Blue Shell Discharge, The Big Deal, Dylan Jacobson, Game Genius, H, Brother Retro, Shane's World, Ovindley, Brian Spritzer. So thanks as always for your support, guys. It truly means the world to us and means we can keep doing this little thing that we love so much. Game on.